In this lesson, I'd like to show you how to create a document that has a cover page, a table of contents, some multi-level list headings with heading numberings, some even and odd headers, and even and odd footers using multi-level list page numbering. Now to start with, I opened up a brand new document and just typed in some text that had some headings. If you look over on the right, you can see that I have my styles pane on the right hand side. I opened this using the launcher over here under the styles group in the home tab, and if you click on any of the text in this document, you can see that it's all based on the normal style that comes built in with brand new documents. So we'll start from here. I'm going to apply some custom styles to my heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3 headings, and I'm going to apply those to heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3 of the built-in styles over on the styles pane. I'm going to click on my heading 1, make it bold, bump it up few sizes, and then select a color. And with this heading, this new style selected, I will come out to heading 1, click the drop down arrow, and choose update heading 1 to match selection. And now this heading style has been applied to heading 1. Next, I'll go to my heading 2, select it, go ahead and make some changes to it. I'll change it to green, make it bold, italic, and I'll bump it up a little. And using the same method, I'll come out and right click on heading 2 and choose update heading 2 to match selection, and now it has the same look. And I'll do the same thing for heading 3. I'll select heading 3, I'll go ahead and make it say red. I will also make it underline, I'll bump it up 1, and with it selected I will come out and I will click the drop down arrow heading 3 and choose update heading to match selection. And now I can see all three of my built-in headings 1, 2, and 3 now have my custom styles that I just built by hand. I will now go through the rest of my document and apply my styles. I'll select heading 3, click on heading 3 here. I'll click on heading 2. I'll come up and click on heading 2 here. I'll click on heading 3. I'll click on heading 3 here. Click on heading 1. I can click on it up here or over here, and I'll just do that for the rest of the document. And now you can see if I scroll through my document, I've got just a few left here. Heading 3, heading 3, and you can see that I've applied the headings all the way through the document. Even if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see I've got it all the way down to the last paragraph. I'm on the last page of the document. You can see I'm on page 5 of 5, and I'm currently in section 1, which is the default section you'll get anytime you build a new document. You'll always have at least one single section, but we're going to change that up in just a minute, add some sections to apply some magic to this document. Next, I'd like to apply a numbering scheme to my headings. So it doesn't matter where I am in the document. On the Home tab, I will come out to this button underneath the paragraph group called multi-level list. Now you don't want this guy, you want this one that says multi-level list. I'll click the drop down arrow, go all the way to the bottom and choose define new list. And when the new list comes up, I will give it a name. I'll just call it my new list. And then down here at the bottom where it says format, I'll click the drop down arrow and choose numbering. And when numbering comes up, you want to make sure that you click this more button over here. And you want to click on level 1 on the left and then apply that to heading 1 on the right. Level 2 on the list and apply that to heading 2. On your numbered level list, you want to click on number 3 and apply that to your heading 3 style. And that's it. Basically from here you're done. I'd like to add a little more color to this. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my number 1 here and just make a change to it. I'm going to go ahead and make it whole numbers without the little parentheses in front of it. Click on my level 2 and I'm going to go ahead and delete that and change that to uppercase letters. And then for my level 3, I like the Roman numerals, but I want it without the parentheses, so I'm going to go ahead and take those out. And now I'm done. Now one thing that you need to be aware of is that anytime I'm looking at a heading 2, the numbering or the lettering numbering inside of heading 2 will restart every time I start a new level 1. Likewise, in level 3, every time I start a new heading level 2, I will restart my numbering in the level 3. All right, so we're going to see that right away here when we go ahead and start. I'll click OK. I'll click OK again, and now I can go ahead and see that numbering out here. Let me switch this back to normal. And if I look at my document, I see heading 1 here has the number 1, heading 2 has the letter A. Then I have Roman numerals, my consecutive heading 3s. And then second heading 2 starts with B, and then because I'm starting a new level 2, the numbering starts for the level 3 again, and then I start with a new heading 2, or rather heading 1. You can see the number 2 there, and then I restart my numbering for the heading 2 with the letter A. And it just goes on like this all the way down to the very end. Scroll back to the top. And if I just zoom out here with my zoom tool, you can see the look of the whole document. Got 5 pages still, and my numbering's all in effect. You can really see it stand out because of the coloring that I've used here. Now here's a little tip. Because I know that I'm going to be applying sections to this document, whereas right now I have only one section, I'm going to break this thing up into like 3 or 4 sections. And whenever I do that, the numbering is going to become more laborious with every new section that I create. So I'm going to do this while I have just one section, and then as I apply new sections or create them, the numbering that I have in section 1 will be inherited, and I will save a lot of work. So what I want to do here is I want to come out here to my footer and double click inside of the bottom of my page here, which opens up my footer pane, and I now have a context sensitive menu at the top for headers and footers. I'm going to click on the Design tab, and then over here under Number, I'm going to click the drop down arrow and choose Bottom of the Page, and from the flyout I'm just going to choose the center alignment. I'm going to come back now, and under the page number again, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and choose Format Page Numbers. And even though I don't have multiple sections yet, I'm going to say include chapter number, or which really is a section number, and I'm going to say I want to start with heading 1, and I'm going to start at number 1, and I'm going to click OK. And now if you come out here, doesn't make much sense, but I have 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4 for each one of my pages, but that's going to change here in just a second. So I want to set that up ahead of time. Now, still in one section throughout my document, I want to leave my heading 1 inside of the first section. I will click out in front of the second heading 1, and I'm going to insert a new next page section. That is, I want each one of my heading 1s to start on its own new page. So I'm going to go ahead and click right in front here of heading 1, and I'm going to come up to my page layout tab, and I'm going to choose breaks under the page setup group and choose next page section break. And now I have 2 sections here. This is section 1, and this guy down here is section 2. Following the same idea, I'm going to go out to my third heading 1, click in front of it and choose breaks, next page, and now I'm on section 3. I think I have one more. I'm going to click in front of heading 4 and choose breaks, next page. Now, one thing I've noticed is that I have a heading 3 that's living out here all by itself. That is, I have heading 3, and the paragraph that belongs to this heading 3 heading is over here on the next page. Well, I don't want that with any one of my headings. In other words, anytime I have a heading 1 that splits away from its paragraph following it, I want to automatically tell Word to always keep these headings with the paragraph underneath them. And a real simple way to do that is just to come out here, and I'm going to start here with this guy. I'm going to go ahead and select it. I am going to come up here under Home tab, and under the paragraph launcher, I'm going to come out here under the line and page breaks and choose keep with next, and that tells it to keep this paragraph with the next paragraph. And I'll go ahead and click OK, and it automatically forces it over here. Now I want to make sure this is applied all the way through the document. So just like before, with this guy selected, I'm going to come out here, click the drop down arrow on my heading 3 and choose to update heading 3 to match selection. Now I want the other guy's heading 1 and heading 2 to have this same thing applied. So under the heading 1, I'm going to come out and choose modify. I will go out here to format. I will choose paragraph, and in the paragraph I'll choose keep with next and click OK. Click OK, and for my heading 2 I'll do the same thing. I'll come out here and choose modify. I will go to format and say paragraph, keep with next. I'll click OK, I'll click OK, and now I know for each one of my heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3, anytime this paragraph splits on a separate page with this guy will always follow it. Now I've also noticed out here on page 6 that I have a heading 1 followed by a heading 3, where my heading 3 should really follow the heading 2, and that's why my heading 2 is out of order. It starts with B, where it really should start with A under the heading 4. A simple way to reorganize this, that is, to go ahead and take my heading 2 and put it back up on top here, is to come out here to my outline tool, and I'm going to come out here to outline view right down here at the bottom and click on it, and if I come up and say only show me my level 3 headings, I can see all of them right here, and there's my heading 2 followed by my heading 3. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on my heading 3 here and select it and just drag it down below heading 2. And now you see that heading 2 gets the letter A, and this heading 3 starts with the I. This heading 3 below it starts with the double I. And I've just reorganized that whole document. When I go back to my print layout view, I can see that on page 6 I now have my heading 2 up here, and the heading 3s with their text are now organized the way I want. Now if I look down at my page numbering, I can see that for my first heading 1, or my chapter 1 in this case, I would have chapter 1, page 1, chapter 1, page 2, and so on. As soon as I hit a new heading 1, it starts out with chapter 2, page 1, chapter 2, page 2, and so on. Here we are with chapter 3, page 1. We start another heading over here, and this would be chapter 4, page 1. So it looks like my numbering is working just fine. Now, one thing I pointed out before was I included my page numbering before I inserted the sections, and that saves me some time. The reason being is that as you add sections, the new section you create will follow the headers and footers in the section previous to it. That's why I get all this numbering scheme built in automatically as I add the sections. But this is going to cause us a problem. I want to include a table of contents above my heading 1 that's going to go ahead and pick up all these headings and number them to tell me which page each one of these little headings lies on. The problem is I don't want my table of contents page to have the same numbering scheme as my document. Maybe I don't even want it to have any numbering scheme at all. And the problem is when I create a new section for that table of contents, these numbering schemes are going to try to follow it. So whatever numbering scheme I'm using up there is going to blow these all out. We have to have a way to fix this. And I want to show you that whenever I click on a footer, like I'm in section 2 here, it's linked to the previous section. That's what this means. And the headers follow the same thing. They're going to be same as previous. Now if I go up here to section 1, you're going to see that they don't have that. And the reason they don't have that under the header and the footer is there's no section above this. This is the first section, so there's nothing to follow. But as soon as I come out here and I click on my heading 1 like before, and I choose page layout, breaks, next page section break, this new section is going to have the numbering scheme that I had before. So what I need to do is I need to turn off the following mechanism for this section. So I'm going to come out here to my footer and I'm going to double click, and now it says same as previous, same as previous. I'm going to go ahead and click inside this header and unlink this, and that unlinks this header to this section. I'm going to click on the footer and I'm going to click link to unlink it to this section. So now whenever I change the page numbering here, it will not affect what's happening down below it in the subsequent sections. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this numbering and press delete, and lo and behold, my numbering is still present out here for my other sections just as it was before. Next, I'm going to come back out here, get out of my headers and footers by double clicking in my document. And if I come out and look, I have just a blank page here, if I click on my Show Hide button under the Home tab, I can see that I have a section break right here. I'm going to click right in front of that guy, press the Enter key a couple of times. Got an extra level 1, change that back into normal, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and pop in my table of contents. Now automatically, if you're using heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, all the way down through heading 9 if you would like, the table of contents is automatically going to key in on those and build your table of contents off of these headings. So I'm all set to go here. I just need to come out here and go to References. I go to Table of Contents under the Table of Contents group, click the drop down arrow, and I could choose one of these automatic table of contents, but I'm going to come out here and just choose to insert the table of contents. It gives me a little dialog box where I can customize. I'm going to come out here and choose, instead of this tab leader, I'm going to choose a flatter leader to point out here, and I'm all set to go here. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK, and it builds a table of contents. And if I come out here and turn this guy off, you can go ahead and see my table of contents. Each one of my different headings out here pointing to the page where that heading lives. Next, I like to have a cover page, so I'm just going to come out here under the Insert tab and choose Cover Page, and I will pick a cover page that looks nice, so I'll go ahead and pick maybe this guy, and now I have a nice cover page that is living out here. So there's my cover page, my table of contents. I've got a blank header throughout my document, but my numbering looks good. The next thing I have to do here is just go ahead and do my even and odd page. All I want this to do is I want these page numbers to line up on the left hand side for the left facing page and have these guys line up on the right hand side for the right page in my booklet. Simple to do. I'm just going to come out here and double click inside one of the footers and just go ahead and choose different, odd, even pages. And when you do this, because all of the different sections inside my main body of my document are all connected together, this is going to go ahead and work out just fine. So I'm going to go ahead, and because I've got a new different even page, it doesn't know what I want, so it just leaves it blank. But I want this guy, so I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to do a Control-C to copy it. I'm going to come out to this guy and just do a Control-V to paste it. And now it just pastes it over here on this side. And with this guy selected, I'm going to go out to my Home tab and do a right alignment. And with this guy selected, I'm going to go ahead and do a left alignment. And now if you look out through your document, you've got your even and odd pages numbered properly on the left and right hand side. Oop. Oh, yep, nope, that's exactly right. I'm starting a new section. I'm over here on the left page here. All right, so things are working out for me here. Now, it looks like these two pages are right next to each other, but they're really not. If I come down here and look again at the bottom at these pages, I am on section 4 here, starting on the left-hand page, and if I click on it, I am on page 8 of 10, and if I click on this page, it's on 10 of 10. That means that page 9 is a blank page, and we'll see that in a moment. So this is on the left-hand side, then there's a blank page, and this is on the left-hand side as well. Okay, one more thing I'd like to do is just to come up and do some odd and even headers here. So I'm going to come up to my even header, and because it's following just like before, I have the left alignment applied, and I'm going to go ahead and type in word class, and then over here on my even page, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am on the right, and I'm going to go ahead and say BOR on the right hand side. And now all the way through my document, on the left hand page I got word class and my numbering. The right hand page I've got BOR and my numbering, and I want to make sure that that's following all the way through, and it looks like it is. Here I am down at the bottom again where I have those two odd pages, but it looks like this section's working okay, this section's working okay, and I got my table of contents. Now when I'm finished, I can jump out here to my print preview and have a look at this. There's my cover page, there's my table of contents. This little blue line that you're looking at right here is where the two pages are cut. So this is the first page, that's where it's cut. This is the next left-hand page, and then we have the right-hand page, and then I have the next left-hand page here. If I zoom back even a little bit more, you can really see it here. There we are. Even a little bit more, there we are. That my cover page, I have my table of contents, then I have a blank page. My first heading starts on the left-hand page. There's the right-hand page. There's the cut. Here's the left-hand page, the right-hand page. There's the cut. Here's the left-hand page. Here's the right-hand page. There's the cut. There's the left-hand, right-hand, left-hand. We start a new section, so I have a blank page, and then there's my left-hand for my last section. At any time, you can go back into your document and modify your multi-level list heading numbers by coming up to the Home tab, and on the multi-level list button you can click the drop down arrow, and when you see your list style down at the bottom, there's my list style. I can right click and choose modify, and then from modify I will go to the format button in the lower left corner, click on numbering, and let's say I want to change the heading 2 style. I could click on the heading 2 style, come up to the format number that I have, I'll press delete, and then down below I'll change it to maybe these uppercase letters here, and then I'll click OK and click OK again, and when I do, you can see now heading level 2 is now uppercase, and I see it here as well.